One of the most difficult things I think about growing up as a Korean American adoptee in regards to race and identity is that I often walk the line between being identified as a real American and a real Korean person. I'm not really a real American because I don't get the same privileges as real Americans, quote unquote, which, include being treated like somebody that does not have different colored hair or skin than other people. And then the other opposite end of the spectrum is being a real Korean person. And I don't speak Korean, so it's really kind of difficult because to Korean people I'm an outsider, and to Americans I'm an outsider, and it's this strange line that I often feel like nobody really kind of gets, and I think that the hardest part about it is that people don't acknowledge that it's an issue. That it's an issue that I struggle with, and probably many other people like me. The biggest thing is when I grew up in an area where the main kind of slogan, unofficial slogan, was "If you ain't Dutch, you ain't much." Now, I don't know what kind of a message that really broadcasts to you, but to me it was just like, honestly, it was one of the worst things that I could have grown up with. Being Korean, being adopted, and trying to figure out how I fit in with not only my family, my classmates, and church groups, things like that. It was really difficult. I remember once when I was in kindergarten, I told one of the other kids asked me to pass him the skin color. And I passed him a color that was closer to my skin than it was to his, because to me that was the skin color. And he just said, "That's not the skin color. Give me the." And then he picked up a whiter colored pencil, and that honestly has always stuck with me, because as long as it's not the norm or not considered, or as long as it's that deeply inbred into our society that having a different color of skin is not normal or not considered the real skin color, I think that people continue to struggle. Something that I thought my parents are really good about. I have 3 brothers and sisters. They're all domestic adoptees, and they're great. I love them very much. But my parents never made they never were like, "Well, you're like second place. We love you second place because you're Korean." They're always really good about that. And I think one of the things that I really valued about our relationship is that they were always very open to talk about things, and they were always they're very good listeners. I think that's the most important thing, is that too many people will try to fix things and they won't listen. And honestly, when I was younger and I had instances like I'm mentioning, I think the most important thing was that my parents were just really great listeners, and they weren't there to say, "Well, are you sure you're not overanalyzing this, or you're kind of blowing this out of proportion?" They never said that, which I always appreciated, because I feel like that's really easy to say, and I've definitely been told that in a number of situations. But I really valued the fact that my parents were just there. They were always there to listen, and they still are. And in terms of I guess I feel like racism, you have to watch for the two major forms that racism can take. The overt, some guy yelling and telling me that I was a chink and to go home from out of his car window, to all those little microaggressions that basically outline the nature of our society and of white privilege. So I guess those would be some things that I found really specifically helpful.